Okay.
Hello and welcome to the Bee Formless Float Driven CEO podcast. I have all the way from the San Francisco Bay Area in a beautiful little community that I'm told about. And today is Jill Nichols. Welcome, Jill, to the show.
I'm so happy to be here. I can't wait to chat more about your journey and sharing as well.
You too, Jill. Yeah, you've got quite a story yourself. And so what I thought I'd do is introduce you, but then I'm going to let you paint the picture, so to speak, of your journey. And yeah, we'll get into it. But you're the founder and CEO of Nichols Group, which is a strategy consultancy focused on design development, transformation, and project integration. You have a background in retail marketing and brand development, so we have some synergies there. Jill, you bring a unique perspective to leadership, drawing inspiration from nature. I'm really keen to explore nature as a green thumb myself, to guide teams through complex projects. And your approach emphasizes presence, adaptability, and creating safe spaces for growth. But not only that, you also are a consultant for Vistige, which is an exec and leadership coaching company. And you're also a painter, and you're currently in your studio right now, and you've pulled down your big pieces, so to speak, so that we can't see what's going on in the background. But from what you've said to me, they're large abstracts. So can you please paint a picture of everything that you're doing, your journey, and how it's all come to where you are today?
Yeah, it sounds like a lot, and you think, what? She's done so many different things, but actually, it's all the same thing. It's about living life with curiosity and being inspired and grounded by nature and honoring the human connection, because that's why we're all here. Now more than ever, we need each other. We need other humans in our lives, and we need the kindness that we can all offer. So, all the activities that I engage in actually start with my core being. I'm a lifetime athlete. I love being outside and recreating. And that time for me on a daily basis is how I refuel. It's not a headache or a heartache to go for a run or a mountain bike ride or go skiing. It's really what I look forward to and what I seek. And working with nature, it really strips everything down, right? There's no drama in nature. It's all about presence and adaptability and resilience. And you imagine how all the species work together.
So you were saying,
So
Jill, about nature.
I'm just a firm believer of being out in nature. It has a huge impact on how I lead and live my life. And through that, I also try to create space for other people to explore and be curious and feel safe, which is what nature provides me. It's an opportunity to explore and adventure, and I feel safe when I'm there. So I think it transitions to how we work, how
Mm,
we work with other people,
mm.
how we hold ourselves in the presence of others as a leader, and also as a contributor and participant. So for me, there's a common theme through everything I do staying curious, helping other people feel safe and listened to and seen, and connecting the dots to what matters. And depending on what we're talking about, my business, which is design strategy, I like to work with placemaking in large developments, which is all about creating a sense of community and a place for people to land and experience things that provide joy to them. And then how we design that space with intention and purpose.
I love
And
that.
that's also the common theme for how we live our life with intention and purpose.
Mm.
So it sort of is it's woven through my journey.
Yeah.
And I look at my work professional career has been more of a journey of switchbacks where I learned something new and I climbed the ladder there and I learned something new and then I pivot over here. And I just want to be a lifetime learner. And every
Yeah.
time I learn something, it expands how I think and expands my
Yeah.
horizon.
Yeah, I agree. And then it's that diverse skills, right? Like you're learning and then you're kind of like you say, I love the switchback. I hadn't thought about the switchback before, that language that you've used, because there's this real conundrum going on at the moment around the climbing that, you know, career ladder versus the career wall. If you think about like, it's like climbing a rock wall, for example. Nature, though, is has the nature piece always been something you talked around you've always been an athlete. You've been like you've loved to do. I love mountain biking, by the way, as well. And running, etc. I love running too. I've stopped running now though. But is that something like is that where you found yourself that when you were in nature, when you're immersed in nature, is that where you feel your most curious, your most creative, your most safest and most present? Like what started your relationship with nature?
I just have this need. It's an internal need. It's an innate need to be outside in the trees, to be admiring the wildflowers, to be looking up at mountains. And I don't care how cold it is, I want to be there. There's something that's so pure and sustainable that we can learn. I use the term the intelligence of nature because I learned so much about how the trees, the ecosystem of certain species of trees support each other. How we need the bees to pollinate, other things and flowers. It's all connected.
Yeah.
And in essence, we are also all connected, and we can learn from that with that mutual respect and joy and appreciation for things that I think as a human being, we're all founded in nature. So how might we learn from that and extract from it rather than pretend it doesn't matter or it has no interest? I
Yeah.
find it great interest. I have well traveled. I've traveled a lot. I've done a lot of fun things. I've been on Everest
Oh
with
wow.
some friends of mine training the Sherpa search and rescue for high altitude and safety. And those journeys are a combination of me and being outside, but experiencing new things and being curious and then sharing our knowledge. So the Sherpa could be more knowledgeable and trainable, earn more income for them to take people up to the summit. So it's all connected. None of it lives without the other things that came before or after.
Yeah, I could not agree more. How does it work for you from a leadership perspective? Like how do you bring the nature piece into leadership coaching and exec coaching and things like that?
I actually think it's the same for business. I think of myself as a guide.
Yeah, right.
I'm a guide outside, but I'm also a guide inside. I'm a guide to my team members, and I want them to feel like they can explore and be curious. And it's really about asking questions, not necessarily having all the answers. When one thinks they have all the answers, I find that person typically dangerous because we should be thinking outside the box, not repeating everything that happened before, but
Yeah,
being open to new information and helping other people realize being curious is good. It's okay to make mistakes. We're going to
yeah.
get through things together. The journey that we're all on will take us to places maybe you didn't even dream of. But if we just repeat things that we saw somebody else do a year ago, a decade ago, a century ago, there's learning from that, but we don't need to repeat the exercise itself.
No, and I think that's where a lot of the time that because we're in such this complex world, right? And
Mhm.
it's getting more and more unpredictable, or I call it non-linear. It's like we've got a choice. We can either hold on for dear life and try and control it, or like you say, we can be curious and explore because you just never know where it's going to take you. And, I know at times I'm like, I have no idea where this is heading right now. And the fear and the resistance pops up, and you start to go, oh, I don't like this. I can't handle this. But if you then go open yourself into being curious about, all right, well, where is this taking me? I haven't been down this path before. Like you say, when you're in nature, you're exploring. If you're going for a hike, you're looking around, you're looking at different things. It's like what you're talking about in life or in leadership and business, right? We need to have the same sort of the same, it's no different when you're out in nature because you just never know what you're going to stumble across. And yes, there's danger at times, and yes, there's like beauty, and then sometimes there's like, okay, here's an obstacle. I have to get over this or get past this. How am I going to do that? That's kind of what I find super fascinating with how you're connecting nature to what you're doing.
I think the common thread is one has to open their eyes
Yeah,
and be willing to see, to look around and see things. Um, and then be responsive, make fast decisions. I think it's trained me to be successful in the boardroom. I can make fast decisions. I don't look at just what's in front of me, but I look at everything behind me and around me. You want to take in the whole experience, the sights, the sounds, the people, the personalities, all of it together to set us up for success and to make decisions based on what we know. There's going to always be something we don't know. And I think today, literally more than any other time in my life, there's so much uncertainty. There's just so much uncertainty around us. And there's consequences to making decisions because we don't know so much. But there's a lot of consequences about not making
I
decisions,
agree.
about being inactive. And what does that look like? And you just have to trust yourself or surround yourself with people that you can trust and allow yourself to be helped while you're helping. And then to me, that's almost a definition of being a servant leader. I
Yeah, I agree.
classify myself as a servant leader or a courage leader. And it means all the good things like I'm here to teach, to guide, to help you, or, maybe to understand what your dreams and vision are and allow you to express yourself. But it also means during hard times to say, hey, is this working for you? Is this your place of success right now? And having the courage to redirect someone to take a different path that maybe is separating you from the company or themselves into a new job. So being courageous is not always about smiling and it's not being a cheerleader. It's about being authentic and honest and helping people look in the mirror and see themselves.
I love the courage leadership piece, right? Because I think about the seven and being there for the people. And then I think
Yeah.
about and then I mix it with transformational leadership because back to your point around we're in such this world of uncertainty. And yeah, I'm with you on making the fast decisions, like being able to go into a boardroom. I've got that unique ability also where you can quickly read a room and you can quickly have in your head, all right, they're going to have to go this way, we're going to have to pivot over here, and have that ability to make the decisions to move forward. But the courage leadership and what you've just tapped into there is super interesting because you're right. It isn't necessarily always about you sometimes as a consultant or as a coach, you put your you have to be that courage leader or that courage guide because you sometimes like you're holding a mirror up to somebody who may be stuck and they're not, thriving, they're not, operating from that like soulful inside out leadership. And I've done it, a couple of times where it's like, oh, I could be putting myself out of work right now, or but it's like it keeps me awake at night if I'm not making sure that I'm bringing out the best in this person. And then if you can see it and you're holding a mirror up to them and you're like, this is not what success should be for you, and you know it, they know it, but they're not there, they're not yet there to be able to I think they're aware of it, but they just don't know what to do. And it's like they're stuck and they don't know how to bring themselves out of it. So it's almost like, given what you and I do, we've got to bring in that courage, leadership, and almost like go, okay, well, yeah, it's like it's posing the questions to them, and
Yes.
that's risky, don't you think, Jill? Like in terms of like having your own business, like it's risky, but it's also like because you kind of like if I don't know when you're I mean I'm scale building a business, it's only been 2 years, so like you want to make sure when you're your own business owner that you're doing well, like you've got financial coming through, and sometimes you take those risks because you're like this is about being authentic and making sure you're bringing the best out in that person.
Yeah. Well, think about you have to be you.
Yeah.
So even though you want to put the nice clothes on and the makeup and look good and stand up there, whatever you're doing, watch out what you're attracting. Do I want to attract clients that are disrespectful, that the anti-courage, which to me, if you don't have the courage to tell one of your employees or staff that, ask them, are you thriving here? Is this really what's working for you? That's a different conversation than every time the employee leaves a meeting, everyone left in the meeting talks about them behind their back, about they failed here or they're not good there and I wish they would have. Those are leaders that have zero impact, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I have a hard time respecting them when they don't have the courage to address areas of exploration for the individual, whether it's even mental health issues. How can we help you not be burned out? What do you need? What flexibility do you need? Rather than complaining behind their back that they're underperforming because they're overworked. Those are two different, totally different types of leaders. I'm not a fan of someone who doesn't have the courage to have a conversation, to address what people need, to help them be their best selves. And sometimes that best self means they're not shouldn't be at my company. They should be working somewhere else. Or sometimes it's about giving them the space they need and the environment for them to thrive in their own way. And to me, that's a courage leader. Other leaders are the ones that will criticize, fire, or lay you off, but never take the time to give the individual feedback to help them
Yeah.
be better, either
Yeah.
better there or better somewhere else. Same with clients,
Yeah.
right? I mean, I have a choice now of working with people that are enjoyable and respectful and they listen to my console. Yeah, that's a win, right? Or you have a choice of working with clients that treat their team poorly, think they know everything, don't really want to learn anything new, want you to do what the 10 people before you did. To me, that's not a client that I want to work with.
No, I agree. I
So
agree.
we can make our own choices, and you have to trust. You have to believe in the universe, and that if I put myself out there, this is what I need, and I have clarity around that. It doesn't mean I know every day what I'm going to do, but I know that I want these things from other people, and I can give it to them as well. I want to be an active listener and respectful.
Yeah,
So, does
I
that
love
make
it.
sense?
I love it. All that you're talking about. Tell me with regards to environment, right, and nature. Like, what is your, I haven't had this conversation, I don't think, with anyone on the pod yet around,
Yeah.
like, in terms of when you go into a business and looking at their office environment, given you're so embedded in nature, do you also look at the environment and how, like, to bring in the nature cues or to bring in more of that? Oh, this is kind of a bit random what I'm asking you, but like the wholeness, like you'll go into a business and can be really stark with lighting, like plastic plants, like lots of different things. And, especially today where, when like you mentioned before, mental health and wellness and things like that. I think we've got to be doing more than just having, plants and, like what's your view on how do you or do you bring nature into an environment, or do you provide advice on, how we could, yeah, you could bring a bit of outside nature into the office environment. Does that make sense?
It absolutely does. So I can ask you or anybody else who's listening, think of what places do you love being? Why do you like being there, right? There's actually metrics that we can take around how people emotionally feel when they're in particular environments. So you brought up where people work. So I work with workplace. I also work with big, what we call here mixed use centers. So maybe that's retail stores, restaurants, um, music venues, I mean, it's a center where you would go to shop and dine, maybe play, maybe bring your dog. But all those things look at the same environmental issues. So, for example, work, okay? You need different environments for different tasks.
Mhm.
So, possibly there's a group of people that's in a very focused headspace and they're task oriented, and it's important that they're not interrupted. So, that space, we may encourage people to have calmness. Maybe the colors are darker and muted. There's not a lot of natural light. You're on headphones. It's easy to see your screens. Um, there's textures to absorb sound, so you're not distracted, which is quite different from where do we all want to gather for our morning staff meetings or enjoy a lunchtime together. That people find joy. I need natural light. I need space to move. I may need calm colors, but I also want to maybe find some pockets of surprise and delight with accent colors. So all the things that one is surrounded with, they're probably not aware of the design elements of it,
Yeah.
but a great design is designed with intention for the purpose of the space, and then you give attention to those elements. So if it's a retail center, I want to bring in community. I wish more people would walk into the center and spend their time and their dollars and have so much fun that they bring their friends and neighbors next time. So we design that. There's a purposeful design. It just doesn't happen on its own.
No.
That means that we're creating spaces where people could gather. Have you ever been somewhere where I love going to ABC bar because I can sit outside and listen to music and I can bring my dog and all the kids are playing in a safe playground next door. All that was designed to make sure people with kids and dogs and
Yeah.
multi-generations can enjoy the same space. So I don't think people think about the design of an environment unless you're a designer. And then that's all we think about. And you can measure that too. Most people measure more joy and delight when they're in a space that they can do more than one thing. So if you go to get a coffee in the morning and that's all you do, it's in the middle of nowhere, you get your coffee and there's nowhere to sit down. Okay, I don't mind going there. I'm just going for coffee. But if you could go for coffee and then go to a dog park after, and there's a yoga class in the public space early in the morning, and then I actually get my shopping done because there's a grocer there, and I'm going to meet my friends for lunch. There's all these activities I do in one place. So we design it for that. And
Yeah.
that's my go-to. I can do everything
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. What do you think the future of
We call that placemaking, by the way. That's what I do, placemaking. There's a
yeah,
name for it.
yeah, I love the placemaking and the purpose design. Like I'm writing it down. It's a good little I just love it. Like it's purposeful design, I think you mentioned, and placemaking. But what do you see as the biggest opportunity, if you like, for, like environment when it comes to office space? Like when you think about COVID and now we're in this hybrid working model or remote or hybrid, it's still relatively unclear where it's going to land. It's still there's like, there's so much that it's so topical still, right? Like what's your view on it from a placemaking perspective or a purposeful design perspective?
Well, I have an opinion about it. It might not be popular, but I'm not a fan of going to work Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, just because that's how it was for 40 years. That's not a good enough reason. But if you have a company that its success is based on collaboration or maybe knowledge transfer, where people who are more senior transfer information to more junior people, there's a reason to be in a space. My opinion is you have to have a reason to go to an office. What purpose does it serve? And when people say, well, it's because we're paying rent and that's how I'm 70 years old and that's how I've always done it. Okay, well, that's comfortable for you, but that's not really a reason to
No.
demand that everybody goes to work and
Yeah.
shows up. So you need to create what's the purpose of being together and be clear on it. We're collaborating. Or I just hired you 10 young people out of college and you don't have the information. You need to come in and work with the senior people. I mean, if there's collaborative spirit or you're offering something that creates a culture, because culture is really important to the success of a business, this space should demonstrate that. It should feel that. It should be a happy place to work. You should have all the technology one needs. We should have well, California and San Francisco is really big on amenities. I'm sure you've heard the story. People go to work because there's a gym there. I eat all my meals there. I do my laundry. Oh, and I get work done too. But I'm not saying that that's a model that should be duplicated elsewhere.
No,
That was a model that a lot of technology companies used because they were asking their people to be there day and night. They didn't want people to go home. There's no
no.
reason to leave.
They were creating
And
home at the office, yeah. And
yeah,
making it, yeah,
that
comfort.
was a that was intentional, but with a different intent. I'm not sure that can stand on its own anymore.
No, no. Yeah, it's really interesting the way you're talking about that, the environment, the purposeful design, the placemaking. And then I think it also then brings in the leaders, the type of leadership we
Yes.
we we want to have going forward as well, and creating that next gen of leaders, because having the ability to be a leader that, obviously there's focusing on results and the commercial realities of a business and the goals that they need to hit and etc. But it's also like coming back to that servant leadership, that courage leadership. It's about the people, it's about the vision you're setting for the business, the culture, and then the environment that you want to create around it. So it is that total, like you're saying, it's that total ecosystem, right? When you booked for the pod, I ask a question to everybody around what's their a unique insight in life, leadership, or business. And you said nature strips everything down to what really matters. There's no performance out there, just presence, adaptability, and awareness. That's had a huge impact on how I lead. I try to create space for people to explore, to grow, to stumble, and to feel safe. In adventure, you're often moving towards something with a team, facing uncertainty together. That's the same in business. I see myself as the guide who brings people together, helps navigate the terrain, and celebrates the summit, however big or small it is. I love that. I love that so much.
Thank you. That was off the top of my head. It just comes from my heart. That's how
Yeah.
I live my life.
But everything we're talking about right now, like, like from a life perspective, but then also like how we've talked around the type of leadership we need, where it's servant, it's that courage leader, and I'll add in the transformational leadership as well. The terrain, the environment as well has to be super, not super, but like almost, it all does sit together. And that's exactly what you're talking about.
The environment where you sit, where you wake up, where you go to sleep, how you arrive at a building or a space, a place to shop, or whether you're recreating or working, all of that sets the tone for how you feel. And the things that we build and construct and craft, in the end, they should allow us to connect with other humans. Those are the most successful spaces
Yeah.
where you have human connection because we can't live without it.
No, we
We
can't.
think we don't need it. There's all that we want to hate everybody around us. Why do you want to hate everybody? Life is a lot more fun when you love everybody and you have kindness, and we create environments that foster that and nurture it. Just like conversations foster and nurture friendships and relationships, business or personal.
Yeah.
It's the connections, and I like to think that trust is our primary currency right now. There's a lot of mistrust in America,
Oh, yeah.
and that mistrust breeds ill will. I don't want to live with ill will. I'd much rather see people be their best self, allow them a space where they can be that if they're open to it,
Yeah, and
and we
shine their
can
brightest.
influence that.
Yeah, I agree. Like I think there's I think that there's a lot of mistrust like going around the world at the moment.
Yes.
I just want to pivot to one last discussion with you, and that's about your large abstracts and your painting. Tell
I
us
love talking about that. Sure, let's talk about it.
Tell us a little bit about that. And like, because for me, when it comes to, life and leadership, and I think we were quickly talking about this briefly before the show, in terms of working and, I call it life work flow, but we all need some sort of creative expression to be able to, I feel, then to be able to give us fresh perspectives. And so then when you go back into work or when you're doing work, you feel like, I don't know, when you're like for you, when you're painting, you must get in some like a flow state where everything feels really effortless. But also for me, when that happens, and I'm not a painter, but I do like the idea of it. I should get into it because I love it when I do it. But it's like a meditative, it becomes a meditative state for me in terms of like things just start coming like downloading for me. Like tell us a little bit about the abstract, the large abstracts, but also what is it, yeah, conjuring up for you in terms of like, yeah, do you get into a flow state when you're painting?
Absolutely. So I have a Bachelor of Fine Arts from University of Michigan, and I graduated and immediately worked in my field. I was a professional photographer. I was an artist. And, I talked to earlier about switchbacks, right?
Yeah.
Things change, you learn. So I was in a waiting room, the lobby of a company called Esprit. Esprit Decor was
Oh,
a really
yeah,
big
I remember
brand.
Esprit.
Okay, well, I was there to be interviewed to be like an art director because my whole background was art. And this is one of the milestones that changed my career. One of the executives walked in and grabbed me. I had this certain look about me. Imagine me at 22 years old. And he's like, "Oh no, we need you in sales. Like you're the face of the brand." So just like that, it was the beginning of my entire professional career, always working with design, but not being the designer.
Yeah, okay.
Always managing as I moved up the ladder and became a partner in this really big design architecture firm. I directed, 52 designers, but I wasn't the designer. And then during COVID, I went, wait a minute. Hello, Jill. Why am I not designing? So I take pictures always. I'm always photographing. I still love to do that. But I've never painted and I always wanted to paint. So I sat down and I started painting. I love it. I can't stop. And I never plan a painting. I don't sketch things out and see what works and try this or try that. I just sit in my space and whatever emotions come out. My paintings are all a reflection of a moment in time. They're
Mm,
all unplanned,
cool.
and everyone. I had a couple that I love so much. I'm like, oh, I want to do a whole series of these. Do you think I could do a second one that's similar to it? No, because they're just a capture of my emotions of that time and where I am and how it feels. And I've only been painting for a couple years, but I'm super excited. I've been doing some really big commissions, and I just have so much fun with it. And I don't try to paint something because you're gonna like it. I paint it because it's a part of me. And if you like it, it's a win for both of us. But it's a different way to approach the work.
How
Um,
cool. How cool. It's
and if
like,
you want to look at my paintings, you can check me out. It's Jill Nichols Art. I have a website and I have some of my work up
yeah,
there.
I was going to ask you that because I'll share it in the notes as well. Like that, yeah. So it's like I'm keen to like, yeah, a moment in time, like, yeah, the creativity. It's even why I chose this picture here when I bought it in Bali many years ago, because I was relating to it in terms of I don't know if you can see all the fingers there.
I can. I noticed it as soon as you came on
That's
the
my
screen.
mind. That's what happens. Like I'm always thinking. I've always got ideas. Like, I'm always like, yeah, exploring. I'm always being curious. And so I totally related to that. Like, like,
Try it. Just go do it. Don't worry about what it looks like or if it's going to sell. That doesn't mean anything. Just
no,
do it.
I think that's what we're talking about here, isn't it? Exploring the unknown. If we've got a passion for or a desire for it, it's like it's never too late. We can always try something. Look what you've done.
Well,
You studied it and then you
I
had a
did. I have to be honest though, as a working woman for a long time, it was hard to give myself permission to paint. It felt like, oh, that's an extra when you have free time. And when I have free time, I want to be out on my bike or something, right? So I kept not, I'm like, is that productive? Is it a revenue stream? I was like putting all these rules on it and standards. And I finally realized just give yourself permission to do it. It makes me feel good. I love it. And then when I put my work in other people's houses, it makes them feel good too. So don't be afraid. Give yourself permission. Just go after it.
Love it. Who knows? You might even start commissioning pieces to put in office environments or business environments.
That would be lovely. Then I'll stop doing other things and only do the things that bring me the greatest joy. And
Yeah,
that changes every year, every decade, right? We're different. We evolve with time
we do
and
evolve with
experiences.
time. Yeah. Okay, Jill. So one last words of wisdom from you before I let you get back to your painting. What would be your words of wisdom?
Oh, I just want to tell everybody, be you.
Mm.
No one else can be you but you. Just be yourself. We love you for you and find joy in that and allow yourself permission to do the things that bring you happiness and fulfillment.
Yeah, so beautiful. Thank you, Jill. I've loved talking to you today. Like it's such a joyful way to start my day.
I
Um,
love talking to you. Let's do it again.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So finding more about you, nicholsgroup.com, www.nicholsgroup.com. We can get you on LinkedIn from Jill Nichols. And then remind me again of, is it Jill Nichols Art?
Jill Nichols art. But the secret is spelling nickels like a coin.
Yeah,
Don't spell nickels wrong. You won't be able to find me.
yeah, I'll add it in. So thank you so much. I've thoroughly enjoyed our chat and yeah, I wish you a wonderful week ahead and I can't wait to see some of these paintings. I'm going to go and have a look right now.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Enjoy your day.
You too. Bye.